Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Before I begin with this article, I have to express my concern for the need to reach people's heartstrings that may no longer have them. What if it was your family? These are the victims. What if your family was murdered and people go online to spread lies, hate, slander, and threaten you? Would you be good with that? It's illegal, and that's exactly why they are raising money to take legal action for someone to finally step up and go after these bullies. What's a bully? Someone who abuses another over and over again. You ask them to stop and they don't. That's a bully. You didn't have the decency in your soul to stop, therefore you must face the consequences of your behavior. It's amazing how some ridicule the Rzuceks for raising money for their own defense. It's mind-blowing how people become so triggered over money. It's the type of hate and jealousy people have towards victims that is truly disgusting and vile. As in 1 Timothy 6:10, for the love of money is the root of all evil. Put your ego aside, think with your heart. Find some empathy and do what's right. You don't have the right to slander or threaten. This is exactly what happened to Critical K. She was the first to slander the victim, Shanann, without knowing the actual facts. She went on to other cases, did some more slandering, and now she's being sued for $10 million, and her YouTube channel was wiped from the website. That's exactly what happens when you do illegal activities. So let this be a hard lesson learned. It's truly unconscionable, and I don't know how any of you live with yourselves who do this type of activity. Now, moving along to the article that CBS 4 had an interview with Frank Rzucek on May 10th, 2022. Frank, Sandy, and Frank Jr., their son, said that they've been physically, emotionally, and financially exhausted by unfounded claims by conspiracy theorists who believe they played roles in their family murders in Colorado. Frank said, "We've been still very sad and upset. It is terrible what we have been going through with social medias threatening us." The article states that the conspiracy theorists online have launched virtual attacks on Shanann and the Rzuceks, dishing out baseless alternative motives to the tragic murders. In hundreds of hours of videos on YouTube alone, several vloggers have made up storylines suggesting that the Rzuceks played an active role in the murders of their daughter and 3 grandchildren. Many of the vloggers have been described as infatuated with the murders, selling subscriptions, and even writing books about their opinions on the crime. Frank said, "It's a nightmare every day. It doesn't go away. You can't live. We've had threats on our lives." Some YouTube users and their subscribers have even suggested that the Rzucek family ordered the murders of their loved ones in hope of collecting insurance money. Others suggested the family helped Watts in his actions in hope of gaining either fame or fortune.
Still very sad and upset. It's terrible what we have to go through with the social medias threatening us. You can't live. To hear these people continue to put us in the limelight and accuse us of doing this and being part of it is ridiculous. They're doing it for views, they're doing it for money, and YouTube is also gaining off of their views.
The fact that these people have the audacity to claim that the Rzuceks helped Watts to get money seems to be proof enough that these money-hungry type people have thought in their own mind, maybe that's what they would do. Maybe they would conspire in killing their own family so they can get their life insurance money. But for normal people, like the Rzuceks, people who have a heart, common sense, love, that's just not the case. So the fact that that's even a theory is absolutely mind-blowing, disgusting. Frank said, "We would die for our family to be back right now." To hear these people continue to put us in the limelight and accuse us of doing this and being part of it is ridiculous. They do it for views, they do it for money, and YouTube is gaining off of their views and money. The Rzuceks said that they have reached out to YouTube on multiple occasions asking for the technology giant and its parent company Google to remove the videos which target their family. The family has even made contact with some congressional leaders asking for YouTube to meet with both parties. Rzucek said YouTube has declined to meet with or take down the content, which they have reported. He said, "We have been reporting these things and telling them that this is going to take someone to go and commit suicide for this to stop."
Reporting these things and telling them that's going to cost us someone to go and commit suicide for this to stop.
And I'm sorry to say that I don't even think committing suicide would make that stop. You literally have to go and sue these people to make them stop. CBS 4 reached out to YouTube in late April seeking an interview on the accusations made by the Rzucek family and to address what the company has done to address the conspiracy theories targeted at the victims of violent crime. A spokesperson for YouTube declined to interview or issue a statement on any questions until their staff had time to review the examples of videos of concern that were provided by the Rzuceks. In the weeks to follow, CBS 4 sent multiple follow-up requests for interviews and statements, which were acknowledged by YouTube. As of the publishing of this article, YouTube has not issued a formal response. According to Colorado State University David Wolfgang, YouTube could be operating within their legal rights by allowing possible slanderous content on their platform. Wolfgang, an expert in communications law for CSU's Department of Journalism and Technical Communications, says the websites like YouTube are largely protected by Section 230, a federal law created in the 1990s to protect online companies. He said defamation in the U.S. is civil wrong, so we don't punish it as a crime. Therefore, YouTube gets protection under Section 230. Section 230 was created in part to shield the online companies from legal liability associated with content from a third-party user. The law was developed and implemented years before the platforms like YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and more were even created. Wolfgang said those who drafted the law likely didn't anticipate the magnitude of power big tech would soon obtain. And this goes along the same lines with what happened on Twitter to a sitting president, Donald Trump, when they kicked him off. And anyone who came out to speak against that or has an opposing opinion also gets kicked off. But then you have others on there that are actually inciting violence every day, and that's totally okay. Once again, the bully gets away with their crime. Wolfgang said if conspiracy theorists were engaging in threats against somebody's life, or if they were doing something criminal, then YouTube would have to step in. But until then, they can kind of pretend like it didn't happen, put their fingers in their ears, and turn a blind eye.
If they were doing something criminal, then YouTube would have to step in. But until then, they can kind of just pretend like it didn't happen, put their fingers in their ears, and turn the blind eye. Therefore, YouTube gets protection under Section 230.
Section 230, a federal law that largely gives immunity to websites for third-party content, was enacted nearly a decade before YouTube even existed.
YouTube has always kind of profiteered off the ability to take the most sensationalistic types of videos, feed them through their algorithm, which promotes those videos, and then feed people into more videos that will only double down on those ideas. You'd have to go after the specific individual who wronged you online.
He said YouTube has always profiteered off of the ability to take the most sensationalistic type videos, feed them through an algorithm that promotes those videos, and then feed people into more videos that will only double down on those ideas. For better or worse, our legal system has it set up, so you have to go after the specific individual who wronged you online, and you can't really go after the platform that hosted the content. That is why the Rzuceks have started to take legal action against some of the YouTube content creators who have allegedly profited off of the murders and conspiracy theories. Frank said, "They're ruining our life every day. They don't care. They don't care about the real people. They want the almighty dollar." Frankie Jr. has started the process of taking legal action against one user in the United Kingdom. He has put in thousands of dollars of his own money to try to stop the false information from being spread on the internet. He has also started a fundraiser to try and cover the costly price of taking legal action in another country. Now, if you step back for a second and really think about this, the so-called bullies are mad that Frankie is raising money to stop the bullies. Think about that for a second. They're mad, one, that they're making money to take themselves down. It's okay for them to talk all the shit in the world that they want to and defame everybody until it's too late and you're stopped legally. Because now when you end up in court, you're going to have to fork out your own money. And the jealousy rate rages for them because they've helped raise money from the people. The Rzucek family is just one of many in the United States that were thrust against their will into tragedies that gained international attention. Other victims of violent crimes, including those who lost loved ones in shootings, have started pushing for Congress to make changes that would help hold tech companies more accountable for some content uploaded to their websites. Frank said somebody has got to start doing something. He said that one of his congressmen in North Carolina has shown interest in trying to address issues around Section 230. One Colorado Congress office told CBS 4 they have begun developing ideas around ways to better address policies on social media and other big tech websites. The staff said a proposal could be announced to the public in the coming months. Some have warned against taking significant action to alter Section 230. Wolfgang pointed out that the law for most Americans has worked perfectly fine. However, as he further noted, some are tragically exposed to the faults of the law. Frank has vocalized his support of changing the law and holding companies further accountable for enforcing policies that protect victims of violent crimes. He has asked the public to reach out to their elected officials to express the concerns with issues he has faced. Frank said these people are out there and just don't care how we feel. It is a shame that they don't have any empathy, a heart, or nothing. To just go out there and destroy our family is not the thing to do. My daughter did not ask to be murdered, and we didn't ask for anything to happen either. There should be a law that they should not allow these people to spread hate and harass families.
But everyone in our life, every day. And it should be a law that they should not allow these people to spread hate and harass the families. Somebody's got to start doing something. It's very hard. And these people are out there just don't care how we feel. It's a shame that they don't have any empathy, they don't have no heart, they don't have nothing. To go out there and just destroy our family is not the thing to do.
And just the fact that he has to explain and that I have to explain how the person's heart should work brings us to a very sad, sad world that we do actually live in. If you've seen the video that I worked on last week, you'll remember that I did a detailed breakdown on how Frank Rzucek was able to do a quitclaim deed to take Chris Watts' name off of the title, and Frank Rzucek was able to add his name to the title with Shanann Watts. And now, since that's been done, for the first time since the confession and conviction of Chris Watts, Frank invited CBS 4 inside the home their family once loved. The house, which has remained vacant since the murders, is now empty of any furniture or belongings, has not been sold. Aside from the dead grass and signs requesting that people stay off the property, the house appears to be a typical and beautiful home in a quiet neighborhood. Tourists interested in crimes can be seen slowly driving past the home on occasion most days. Curiosities and conspiracies have led several residents in the surrounding homes to move away since 2018. The home, which is protected by a security system and cameras, appears to be ready for its next owners. Neighbors new to the community since the crime told CBS 4 they greatly anticipated the day a young family would move in and make the community whole once again. The future of the home is still caught up in technicalities. On occasion, Frank will visit the home, usually to work on upkeep. Neighbors told CBS 4 they enjoy seeing him, but look forward to the day he and his family can move on as well. As he took Dylan Thomas inside the home, he couldn't help but reflect on the great memories he shared with his daughter and grandchildren. Frank temporarily lived at the home with Watts prior to the crimes and loved getting to see his only grandchildren. He said, "I have a lot of memories. When I walk through that front door, I look up at the balcony, and that is where my grandgirls would be every day when I came home from work. To this day, I look at that balcony. It is very hard," as he wiped the tears away from his face.
It's a nightmare every day. It doesn't go away. A lot of memories. But when I do walk through that front door, I look up at the balcony. And that's where my grandgirls would be every day when I came home from work. So this day, I look at that balcony. It's very hard.
Frank has worked to save many items from the home that remind him of the good times he shared with those he loved. As he shipped away some of the final contents of the property of his home, Frank said he would love to live a life away from false information and virtual attacks. Haunted by conspiracies and the platforms they thrive on, Frank said he tries his best to not focus on the trauma, but on memories of life before. He said, "I think of not the bad ones, the good ones. Was I going to see them graduate and get married? That was my thing. Now we have to look back on the memories every day of the good times. And we had good times. There were never bad times. You come back to this home and there are a lot of memories. There are a lot we will never forget." If you don't read that or hear what he says and it doesn't break your heart a little bit, there's something wrong with you. You really have to step back and put yourself in these people's shoes. Put yourself in the victim's shoes and stop attacking them. It's heartbreaking. Some conspiracy theorists have suggested that elected officials and investigators were paid to cover up alternative outcomes to the murder investigations. Weld County District Attorney Michael Rzucek told CBS 4 he was aware of the accusations that he was paid off during the investigation. When reached by CBS 4, Rzucek was quick to deny the accusations. Rzucek said, "Frankly, I find such insinuation preposterous." So I'll end this video with stating that if you think or feel that you may be one of those bullies that attack the Rzuceks or other victims of crime, reach down, separate yourself, and put yourself in their shoes. It brought tears to my eyes to read what Frank had said about not watching them to get to graduate or get married. And it also made me think, because my dad didn't get to see me get married or graduate. So I can understand where he comes from, and people really need to just step back from their own ego and understand the pain these people have went through for the last 4 years and back off. And since some of them didn't back off, now you have to pay the consequences.